Are we live? Welcome, everyone. We are here tonight to talk about summer camp. We all missed out last summer, and it was a very sad thing, but we're here tonight to, give some reminders and some tips about how to make your Scout summer camp the most enjoyable, successful, rewarding experience it could possibly be. More importantly, we're here tonight to answer some of your questions. And we've got a panel here of very knowledgeable people. I'll start with myself. I'm Lexi McLaughlin. I'm probably the least knowledgeable. I have 2 Cub Scouts, and I've been through camp many times, but I too could use a refresher after not being there last year. So with that, let's introduce the rest of the panel. Tim?
Hey, guys. Good evening. My name's Tim Trace. I serve in the New Horizons District as the district commissioner there, and it's my pleasure to meet you all virtually this evening. I hope we have some good information coming up for you soon. We'll pass it off to a guy who really needs no introduction because you see him everywhere. I mean, everywhere on the council stuff. Here's Kenny Wolf.
Thank you, Tim. Like he said, I'm Ken Wolf. I am the River Trails Friends of Scouting chair. I am also the Roundtable Commissioner for Cub Scouts, and I have the great fortune to be a Cub Scout pack Cub Master for the last couple of years for my son's unit here in House Springs, and we are so excited to get our kids back to camp. And last but not least, I want to introduce you to Susie Voss. She basically makes camping, especially in the Cub Scout world, happen here in the St. Louis area, in the greater St. Louis area as a whole. So Susie, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Kenny. Hi, everyone. I am Susie Voss. I am the Director of Cub Scout Camping and Activities for the Council. So I am really looking forward to talking with you guys tonight about a couple of our health and safety measures out at camp, and then answer any questions that you have. So thanks for having me.
Well, so let's get right into this. As you are on, obviously, hashtag Camp Life STLBSA. We're looking forward to your questions. We've got our comment stream up here, and we will answer those as they come up. But we'd like to just start by going through a couple, housekeeping issues, things that everybody wants to know, and things that remind us of how to prepare for camp this summer. So with that, let's start with the main topic everybody is interested in, which is health and safety measures. So thank goodness we have Susie to answer those questions for us. And again, if you have questions or comments, please join the chat, and we will try to get to all of them if we can.
Awesome, thanks. I'm happy to go over a few of our main highlights of our health and safety measures that we are taking this summer. And just so everyone knows, the full list can be found on our website at stlbsa.org. So we're still looking forward to an awesome summer. Camp is still going to be the same fun, life-changing experience that it always has been. All of our policies for the summer have been created and worked together on by our council's Health and Safety Committee, which is made up a group of 5 medical physicians with extensive medical and scouting backgrounds. So all of them have scouting experience as well. Our policies follow all of our state and local mandates, and they also take into consideration very highly the recommendations of the CDC guidelines. Our mask policy states that everyone, vaccinated or not vaccinated, will wear a mask unless they are actively eating, drinking, or sleeping while at camp, and swimming as well. Social distancing will be followed as much as possible throughout all areas of our camps. And then for dining, our camps will either be patrol method cooking, family style, or distant cafeteria style. It just kind of depends on the camp. So you'll be kept with your group that you're camping with or sharing a campsite with. So we want to make sure that we're trying to keep those natural groups together. And in many cases, meals will be spread out as much as possible, depending on the facility, so that no one is congregating without proper social distancing. So again, just doing everything that we can in that dining setting. Our overnight tent policy is that everyone tents alone to prevent exposure. That is going to be the safest way to tent overnight at our camps. However, at this time, for Cub Scout age only youth, we are allowing a waiver to be signed by both parents of the Cub Scouts that would allow 2 Cub Scouts to tent together as long as all the other youth protection policies are followed. And I'm happy to talk about that further if you guys have questions. But this right now is just for our Cub Scout age youth only. But just so everyone knows, we are always reviewing our policies. We're trying to see what can change reasonably while keeping everyone safe and healthy at camp. And those Cub Scout tent waivers can be found on the website as well as the registration sites for each Cub Scout camp. So that's where you'll find that. And you'll turn that in when you're checking in at camp with your medical form. And I'm either happy to answer questions now, or I think next we have Tim will kick off our different types of camp that we have offered.
Sure.
Actually, there is one question coming up about the dining specifically, Susie.
Yeah.
So in the past, especially at the Cub Scout age, you go to the dining hall, yes, it's called the meal patrol or meal duty. They come up, they send the scouts up, they prepare the tables, they get the food ready for, and it's kind of part of the experience. They have to clean, they have to serve people, they have to take care of their dead. Is that still going to be possible with social distancing and the way the dining policy is this year?
So as much as we can, we're trying to keep camp as normal. So giving them those areas of responsibility. But what we are going to do is trying to make sure that it's only like one designated Cub Scout. So it's not multiple getting up, that it's kind of one scout at a time getting up and getting the things that they need. Our dining service as well is just really dedicated to keeping things as healthy and safe as possible. So while we might not have like a communal salad bar, we will still have options where people can get additional items like yogurts at breakfast, salad at other meals, things like that. And they'll kind of have these side tables where, again, one designated person goes up from the table and gets the additional items that kids need. So we are blessed with a lot of different camp offerings. And so with that, we have a lot of different facilities. So it just kind of depends on the facility, very specifically what will actually happen.
That's great, though. It sounds like the kids, even if individually, will be able to gain some responsibility from that.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. So, Tim, I guess we're moving on to we're kind of doing a general overview right now. And again, we are ready for your questions and we will take those as they come. But I think a good review would be just the types of camps that are offered in the greater St. Louis area. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take off on Cub Scout camps first because those are near and dear to my heart. I guess maybe some of you watching the call have encountered Millennium Park Evening Adventure Camp over the years. I've been director of that camp since we started it, so 11 years this year. And I know there's at least one other person watching right now. I know Mike Euchman is on here this evening, and he's helped with that camp a lot as well. Listen, let's talk about those Cub Scout Day Camps really quick. Now, summer camp is absolutely why kids sign up for Scouts. The opportunity to get outdoors and have a big event with other kids that are like-minded to you in an environment put on by energetic camp staff. That's exactly where these kids want to be. And, they go there to learn new skills and hobbies. It's a safe educational environment. And we've got literally dozens of opportunities in St. Louis to choose from. In fact, this year we have over 30 day camps scattered all throughout the Greater St. Louis Area Council's 63 county footprint. We cover a huge swath of territory. It is, and those camps are they're there for the kids. Now, this year's theme, Geared Up Robotics. So we're gonna learn about robotics in camps. We're gonna learn about STEM crafts and activities, and we've got all kinds of fun stuff going on that revolves around the great world of robots. Are they our helpers, or are they set to become our mechanical overlords? Wahaha! All right, so let me know, Kenny, if I'm putting too much personality to this. Okay?
No, you're doing just fine, Mr. Roboto.
Oh, Domo, thank you. Let's talk about the other things that go on at Cub Scout camps. I mean, for anybody that's seen a Cub Scout camp, you guys all know this. For the people that haven't yet, oh boy, our camps, our day camps, our evening camps are incredible opportunities for the scouts. Not only are they going to do just, regular scouting games, things like you might see at a corporate picnic, things like that. They might get to play some organized sports to help them meet some of their rank requirements. But most of our camps take care of getting the scouts through their shooting sports disciplines. The really good camps managed to get them awarded their shooting sports badges by the end of camp. Now, those shooting sports for Cub Scouts, BBs, archery, wrist rockets, and sometimes the camp directors dream up some other things. But the official 3 sports for Cub Scout shooting sports are BBs, wrist rockets, and archery. And those are a huge centerpiece to our camps. Along with that, depending on when the camp is, how long it's operating during the day, if it's a 3-hour evening camp or a 8-hour camp that runs across the course of a whole day, you might see some entertainment going on during lunch. You might bring in a professional entertainer, somebody that's used to, maybe it's a clown, maybe it's somebody that's been to the outback and brings with them all kinds of wild animals. Maybe it's a motivational speaker for youth. But all of this stuff is wrapped up into those day camp packages. And they are a fantastic opportunity for all the scouts. So with regards to day camps and evening camps, I've blabbed on good enough about that. If anybody has any questions specific for those, throw them in the chat real quick and throw them in the comments, and we'll grab those from you and answer them. And then I'm going to talk up our next part really quick, which is going to be Kenny. We're going to let him go and see how energetic he is this evening. Right, Kenny? Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. Near and dear to my heart is Cub Scout resident camp. And we've got lots of opportunities this year for that. Camps that'll be holding that. You've got Pine Ridge. You've got Camp May at Beaumont Scout Reservation, which is in my backyard, almost literally 2 miles away. Rhodes, France. And then I believe Camp Warren Levis will also have a program. So a couple opportunities inside those camps. You got Arrow of Light Camp. That's going to be happening at Camp May, where they're basically going to be, it's a big transition point during the Arrow of Light and Weblow's ranks. So they're going to be a little more focused on how it's going to get them pushing towards Scouts BSA, but also working on those rank requirements, including shooting sports. Yeah, Tim, you were right. Every good camp will get you through to shooting sports. And thankfully, all of our camps are good camps. Let's see. So from there, you've got your Weblow's camp. No, I'm sorry. Arrow of Light, that's a 5-day camp. Weblow's camp is a half week. And that is same concepts. That's going to happen at Pine Ridge, and that's going to happen at Camp May in Rhodes, France as well. So nowhere at or where you're at in the council, there should be somewhere close enough, hopefully, for your unit to be able to attend there. Another thing is what we'll be doing in July is Cub Adventure Camp at Beaumont. And everybody knows Beaumont's got a pool. They got is Mud Cave going to be available? We shall see. Time will tell. Sometimes climbing wall is maybe it's a new climbing tower in the last 2 years, so that's great. But it's for all ages and ranks. First graders and up. You name it. They're going to be able to work on rank advancements for those ranks. If your scout does not come away from one of these camps with probably a third to half of their rank advancement taken care of, you did something wrong, because we lay it out there for you, and they're going to have an awesome time. And it's amazing, really. Like, I took my scouts 2 years ago for the first time going to camp and watching, from day one on that day you check in to that day you check out. Even it may only be 3 or 4 days you're there, but there is so much growth that happens in these kids. It's amazing. The one other thing that is available for overnight camping is family camp, and that's available at Camp May and Camp Famous Eagle. If you have not made it down to SBRF Scout Ranch, I know that does not happen for a lot of Cub Scout events. Take the opportunity to do it. You're on Nims Lake. It is an excellent opportunity. That's going to be July 10th and 11th. But enough rambling from Kenny. We have a lot more to get to. So let's talk about Scouts BSA, Tim.
All right. That does jump to. We have any questions we want to tackle right away there? I don't see that we have. We do have some questions coming in, maybe about Scouts BSA. We can tackle them after we talk about.
Yes.
Oh, well, there we go.
Uh-huh.
Susie, you want to tackle that real quick, and then I can talk about the camps, or you want to go the other way?
Yes, I'm happy to tackle this one.
Fire away.
So at the moment, it is just regarding Cub Scouts, and that is due to their psychological needs, the length of camp, which is shorter, as well as the transmission rates amongst the age of Cub Scouts, But we are currently reviewing all of our policies to try to see what it is that we can change, what we need to keep to make sure that everyone is safe and healthy. So at this time, it is just for Cub Scouts, but we are currently actively reviewing that policy specifically to see if and what needs to change in order for us to be able to open it up to more. But again, we stand with tenting alone is going to be the safest bet. And that's for all ages too. So just because there's a waiver for Cub Scouts doesn't mean that parents have to fill it out. So it just would give those who want to tent with someone else the opportunity.
And, speaking to that a little bit, I will say there's a big difference between 1 night, 2 nights, 3 nights, 5 nights camping, especially, if you've missed out on last summer, which was, an integral part of that growth. So, I'd just like to say, my den in particular, we are Arrow of Lights. We chose to do a 3-night camp versus the Arrow of Light camp. Because it is going to be difficult. And kids, especially kids that haven't camped their whole life and may have only been exposed through Cub Scouts, through a family camp or a few summer camps, maybe you're not ready. Maybe we want to set them up for success. So whatever your den feels comfortable with, as a den leader, hopefully there's some den leaders joining us tonight. I mean, you've got a pretty good handle on, who's going to be comfortable with, there's a big jump between 3 nights and 5 nights. So we want to set these kids up for success, make them feel comfortable. It is the most rewarding experience. It's like winning the Super Bowl when they make it through 2 nights or 3 nights or whatever their goal is. But there's so many options that I just, as a reminder, you're not bound to a specific camp just because you're in that rank. We all missed out on things. We can all work on things next year if we don't get all our requirements done. The most important thing is just to set the group up for success and make sure everybody's feeling confident about whatever duration of stay you have.
Agreed.
So that's a good segment. That was a Cub Scout comment. Now we're moving on more into the bigger boys that hopefully have had more camping experience. And Tim, as you started to talk about, just the BSA program.
Let's fire away here. So Scouts BSA Camp. Now, Scouts BSA, of course, being the mainstream scouting program for all youth ages 11 through 17, so all the way up to their 18th birthday, right? Here in the Greater St. Louis Area Council, we give them so many options to choose from to go to camp. So let's first talk about just maybe like traditional summer camp. What goes on in the traditional summer camp? Well, obviously there's tent camping, right? You get to spend 6 nights in a tent camping, depending on the camp that you're at and what we're doing this year. I think this year, Susie, we are doing packaged food to the campsites, and in traditional years, you would be cooking on your campsites. But let's keep moving on about merit badges. The merit badges that are offered at camp, everything from all of some of the Eagle required merit badges like environmental science and swimming and life saving, all the way down to fun ones like fly fishing. Sometimes there's unique merit badges in there. I know that they had astronomy as a merit badge at camp a few years ago. The merit badges that are offered at camp, now these all differ a little bit from camp to camp. I mean, we've got the core, right? We've got the core merit badge that we offer at camp, but we do move on to other things that are unique to each camp based on the skill set of the staff that's there. So I would urge you, if you're considering the camp, if you haven't locked in your plans yet, to go out and shop those camps, shop those registration pages on the Greater St. Louis Area Council homepage, shop those registration links and really look at those camp guides to see what's being offered at each camp. Another quick shout out to all of the adult volunteers watching. If you know you're going to be at camp a particular week and you're staying the week and you are a merit badge counselor, have you considered getting a hold of the camp director before you come down and maybe offering your merit badge that week? Interesting thought. All right, so let's talk more about what the Scouts can do at camp, right? There's also Order of the Arrow elections, Order of the Arrow being the Honor Society of Scouting. We're going to put Scouts into the Order of the Arrow, just as we have in prior years. I would say that the ceremonies may look a little bit different this year for reasons of social distancing, but the order marches on. And those elections are going to continue at Scouts BSA Camp. Now, all of this for us, if we're going to SRF Scout Ranch, all of this at Camp Gamble and Camp Famous Eagle, All of this takes place on the shore of the 270-acre man-made Nims Lake. Nims Lake is absolutely fabulous. We're going to do all kinds of sports on there. Everything from, well, swimming, right, in the swimming areas, out to canoeing, rowing, motorboating, sailing, stand-up paddle boards. What are these aqua cycles I keep hearing about, Kenny? Everything is offered at these. The other camps that we have as well, you know, we have camp going on at 5 different locations this year. So there's Gamble and Famous Eagle down at SBRF. We'll talk about Swift Adventure Base in a moment. But we also have Rhodes France out in Pana, Illinois, and Camp Llewellyn down in Sylva, Missouri. Now, all of these offer pretty tight curriculum for the scouts to choose from. And then, as I said before, those little offshoots, those merit badges that might be unique to the staff or to an adult volunteer such as yourself who offers their services when they come to camp. Now then, I'm going to jump right in to venturing, and we'll circle back around and come back to any questions you guys might have about our Scouts BSA camps once I talk about that. Now, for venturing is a program for older youth in scouting. Starts at age 14 and runs up through their 20th birthday. And we have Swift High Adventure Base at SBRF for them to go to. Now, a lot of the activities at Swift, many of the activities at Swift, look somewhat similar to a scout camp. Aforementioned, swimming, sailing, motorboating, aquacycles. Kenny, help me out here. I haven't seen a picture of an aquacycle.
I don't have one to share, but I'm thinking about starting a aquacycle, club.
It's like the buzzword of this conversation all of a sudden here. In addition to that, the things that are offered at Swift include rock climbing, challenge courses, rappelling, oh my goodness, horseback riding, mountain bikes. There is a range of activities there geared towards those older scouts who may have earned their rank advancement in Scouts BSA and be looking for a fun time with a venturing crew, or they may just be part of a venturing crew. They may have just joined venturing and been enticed by high adventure, and here they are at our camps. Now, there's themes this year, right? I won't give you the exact dates. You can find those out on the council webpage. Nobody wants to take that much notes while we're talking today, but there's a earth and water theme going on and a land and fire theme. So in a camp that's primarily geared towards 14 through 20-year-old youth, imagine what the theme of earth and water or land and fire might look like. And that's just the fun that they have at venturing camp. And again, that camp is offered on the shores of Nims Lake at SBRF Scout Ranch. Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about. We have specialty camps. Now, those are spread across the council in different places. Many of them take place down at SBRF Scout Ranch, such as our Ranger program, right? It's a multi-day program walking through, walking trails, carrying a backpack, walking trails, using canoes, and traveling all around SBRF Scout Ranch, doing things like blacksmithing, black powder rifle shooting, and you're camping out in the wilds of the Ozarks, which is pretty darn cool. That's a Ranger camp. And a kid who takes the Ranger program comes back changed for life. My goodness, they've got energy when they come back from that. Now, of course, STEM is very important at all of our camps. For especially summer camps, we've got STEM scattered throughout the council. Not only do we have STEM Week at Camp May, and that'll be in July 18th through 24th. Not only do we have STEM Week at Camp May, where they're going to learn all kinds of things, working on their NOVA badges, working on drones, 3D printing, and there might be some explosions. I'm just going to say that up front. So they're going to have a fun time at STEM Week. There's also STEM on campus. This part is information I'm relating to can all be found on the stlbsa.org page under the camping header at the top of the page. Now, a couple more programs I'm going to plug very quickly, and then I better move on because if I keep talking, we're going to be here all night. Let's talk really quickly about Horse Camp, which is held at Nagel Base at Beaumont Scout Reservation. And it's held July 25th through 31st this year. And it is for scouts who are age 13 and are out of the 8th grade, and they want to learn more about horseback riding. They do challenge courses on the horses. They put on a cavalcade for us at the end of the week. The parents come out and see it. And it's not all done on horses. I mean, you might ride the horses down to the swimming pool at Camp May. You might ride the horses up to the high ropes course on Beaumont Scout Reservation. The scouts that have taken horse camp tend to come back year after year. Fantastic specialty camp offered by us. Last one I'm going to talk about, I'm going to make it very brief. NYLT, those 4 letters, NYLT. Those of you that are on the stream that know what NYLT is, know why we should send every eligible scout to NYLT. NYLT stands for National Youth Leadership Training. And it's a course managed by older scouts, presented by older scouts to younger scouts in the field, which means in a campsite, out in the open, outdoor classrooms. They're presenting them leadership skills training. And some of that skills training they get is would even be good for adults, frankly. And the leadership skills that they develop over the course of that week, the intention of NYLT is for them to take those leadership skills back to their home unit and put them into effect there. If you ask a bunch of the troops around the Greater St. Louis Area Council, you may find that some of them actually require their SPLs to have attended, their senior patrol leaders, to have attended National Youth Leadership Training, to have attended NYLT. Guys, I'm blabbing on too much about all the Scouts BSA offerings.
No, that's great. We love the Tim Show. It's awesome.
I can keep going.
You're very energetic. I do want to point out a couple questions just popped up that are very good and relevant, and I'd like to address those, kind of backtracking just a little bit. We have a question from David here about packaged meals, which Susie, you touched on briefly. Camp Gamble, are we not cooking their own meals at all at BSA this year? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
So they actually are cooking their own food. So Gamble will get patrol cooking just as they have in the past.
Awesome. That's all we need to know on that. Okay,
that was an easy one.
This is actually a really good question and something I hadn't thought of, but it's a great question from Tom. Allergy issues, which we'll kind of address on the check-in portion of this chat, but sometimes allergies can, the symptoms can very much resemble the symptoms of COVID. So how is that going to be addressed? I know I've gone through that with my own kids and myself. I thought I had COVID, but really it was just allergies. I think we're all hypersensitive to it, obviously, rightfully so, but can they get sent home? What is the policy on that?
So if we were to send someone home due to suspicion on COVID, first of all, that would not be taken lightly. We would be working directly with each camp's medical director. So each camp is fully staffed with a medical director who is trained and knows what to look for, knows how to screen for symptoms. So I don't want to say no, but it would be something that we would take into consideration. What exactly are those allergies? We would talk one-on-one with the scout. We'd be talking with the adults, things like that. And so the fever obviously is probably not necessarily going to be allergies and would warrant being sent home from camp to get tested. Things like losing taste and smell completely 100% has been very unique to COVID. So certain symptoms do kind of weigh a little heavier than others. And so it's looking at each case individually. And luckily we have great medical staff to do that and to help us with that.
And not only great medical staff, but I mean, most of you that are going, even in the later years of this, your den leaders, your troop leaders, they know you've filled out medical forms many, many times. So that's a conversation to be had, I'm sure that will be figured out, and obviously not taken lightly if someone is very ill, but I'm confident at this point. I mean, the communication between, the kids with the symptoms, the den leaders, the parents, and then the medical staff, that'll be addressed and figured out.
Yep.
All right.
Happy to address as well. If you guys want to pull up that one about the individual tenting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So in regards to this, asking whether or not we have enough individual tents. So ideally, if no one brought any tents, we would probably have to purchase more, but we are looking at averages of how many people generally do bring their own tents in any given year, as well as our own supply. And that is part of the reason why our camps are operating at lower capacities, is to make sure that we have enough resources and all of that. And so the short answer is yes, we will have enough tents, but we are working with units and seeing how many tents are you bringing exactly, making sure that we're getting that communicated beforehand so that we can do our planning is very, very helpful. So I know on the Cub Scout side, and that's my bread and butter is Cubs, but I know on the Cub Scout side, a lot of people elect to bring their own tents, again, in any other given year. And so when we've been sending out communications prior to camp, we are asking how many people are bringing your own tents. We encourage you to bring your own tents, things like that. And so it's just kind of working together as a team and kind of figuring this out together, both camp staff and campers. So just make sure that as we are communicating with you and asking that you guys are updating those numbers, because that's going to be the best way for us to prepare and to make sure that everyone is has a nice canvas roof over their head.
Okay, thanks for the questions, Tom and David. Great participation, gold star. So let's move on to talking about something new this summer.
This is my part.
It's adult summer camp.
Yes, adult summer camp. Have any of us gone to adult summer camp with GSLAC? No. I mean, some of us may consider it as leaders, but this is new for this year. So it's going to be at Swift High Adventure Base. There's going to be 2 opportunities, and there's going to be a great variety of staffed activities like rock climbing, horseback riding, water skiing. You should see me on one ski. It's quite the sight to be seen. And then they're going to have a specific menu just for this camp. Is there steak on that? I guess we'll have to find out. But it's a evening entertainment opportunity for some off-site excursions as well. These are basically extended weekends. You got June 10th through the 13th, and then the other one's going to be July 8th through the 11th. It's a great opportunity for you, and maybe you want to take a couple of your fellow leaders and just to get out there, have some fun. It sounds horrible to say do it without your scouts, but you deserve it. You've put all the hard work in. Take a little time for yourselves. I think it's going to be a great opportunity. I'm going to try to go myself. Actually, I think Tim, we should go. Let's make plans. But no, seriously, I think that's going to be quite a bit of fun. I'm sure that's going to fill up fast, though. I do want to circle back real quick to NYLT. Believe it or not, I used to be the shy, meek guy. Well, in around 99, 2000, somewhere in there, I went to JLTC, which was the predecessor to that program, and I learned so much, and I owe a lot to this program. So yes, send your scouts to NYLT. They will benefit from it. So moving forward from there, though, there are a lot of new additions that have happened on our scout properties. Basically, there's been a lot of extra time to work on things to a point, and through successful fundraising, and we've got some really good people at the helm that are able to direct those funds. There's been lots of improvements. We've got new council rings and STEM pavilions at 2 of our camps. Our new aqua bike gang, which will be at Nibbs Lake. And let's see what else we got going on. Very important here. There is a new ADA accessible campsite at Camp Famous Eagle. We're always trying to do what we can to ensure scouts of all abilities get to take part in the life-changing experiences that we offer. Basically, like we said earlier, so many opportunities when it comes to camp. Be sure to visit stlbsa.org/camps, or just find it in the top bar there. So from here, Lexi, I'm going to turn it back to you, and let's see if we've got questions and whatnot to continue to look at.
Yeah, thanks everybody again for your questions on the chat. There's a few things that, okay, I'll be honest, we made these up, but they're legit questions, okay? But they are things that, as a den leader for Cub Scouts like you, Susie, I have not ventured into BSA yet, but there's a lot of questions and a lot of, I mean, it's nerve wracking sending your kid to camp for the first time to be on their own, even if you're going with them. I mean, you want them to make it, you want them to be successful. So one of the things, we thought we'd bring up a couple issues or points. These are more, a little more specific to Cub Scouts, maybe for first time Scout parents. And the first one is, how, if you're sending your child for 2-3 nights at camp, are you going to know what's going on with them? How is their day going to be communicated? Or are you just like, bye, which, I mean, let's be honest, that's like a nice break, but still we're worried about them. So, I'd just like to bring that back around to, your den leaders that hopefully you've gotten to know well, and they know your scout and the den together, and, who might maybe need a little bit more, I don't want to say attention, but make sure that they're doing okay, and if they're maybe a little more nervous than some kids. I always think it's funny with younger dens. It's like, there's always a couple you could just drop off in the wilderness and they'd be fine for like weeks on their own, like even when they're 7. And then there's a lot of them that, they're nervous. They've never done this before. And they love being outdoors. They love being in nature. They want to experience new things. But it's not easy for kids that age to just go out on their own and stay the night without their parents. So, what I would say to how is your child's day going to be communicated with you? There's social media. Every single camp has its own Facebook page, and you just have to Google it. Facebook it, and it's pretty easy to find. But also your den leaders. My den leaders, when my oldest was, experiencing camp for the first time, they sent me a text every night, and it's not something I asked them to do, but it meant the world to me. So again, if there's den leaders joining, especially for some of the younger, the younger ages, just a little text every night. Hey, great day. He did awesome. He's fast asleep. It's, 9:30 and he's exhausted, because that's what it's going to be. They're so tired that they will go to sleep. But, as far as communication, check the Facebook pages. You might catch a picture of your kiddo up there, and also just communicate that with your den leaders. I mean, den leaders are there it's a volunteer job. They're doing it because they want to, and they want your kid to be successful and have the best time they can. So that's about communication. And then we had another one, how are behavioral issues dealt with? In my experience, that doesn't happen often at camp. Everybody's there for this pretty much the same reasons, to have a good time, be outside, try some new things. But should there be, behavior issue, Tim, do you want to address that or not?
Oh, I just had to find my unmute button. That way you guys don't, hear me giggling and laughing, because I'm having a good time. This is a good live stream. So discipline, right? For the Scouts, discipline at camp. I'm going to tell you that the first line of defense in Cub Scout discipline is going to be the Cub Scout, right? We're hoping for good behavior from our Scouts. Like Lexi said, we're all there for the same purpose. We're there for the same reason: to have fun, to learn. The values of Scouting, the oath, the law, all of that are above us to help us with our behavior and guide us, and that makes things a lot easier than you can imagine. Now, occasionally, we do have children that act out at camp. And I can help you with that. I can talk to you about how we would handle that. Now, I've attended Cub Scout camps a lot, and I love them. Matter of fact, my favorite camp of any really is the Weebelo week-long camp. I love that camp. But I'll tell you, if a Scout is acting out and a leader has to step in, first, we're guided by our youth protection policies, the Boy Scouts of America. So we have our training there to help us, right? But the idea is to get the youth aside, talk to them, see if they are in a mood to be reasoned with. I believe that the leader at camp is the second line of defense against Scout behavior. And it is your responsibility as a den leader at camp to help moderate that behavior of the youth under your management. Let's say it extends a little further than that up to the camp staff. The camp staff at all of our properties is trained. Matter of fact, they just had a training session this past Saturday for Camp May. They are trained in handling disciplinary issues with grace and respect for the Scout. I will tell you that the position is that the Scout will remain on camp and in the program unless they've done something that directly violates our youth protection policies. If they've done something that is just simply too dangerous or whatever, we'll have a conversation about if they need to remain in camp. But let's get back on the positive side. We're going to try to fix the situation and move forward, because nothing serves the youth. The youth is not served if we pull them out of camp. They can't experience any of the greatness that is a camp. So we have a bent towards keeping them there if there's a disciplinary issue. Lexi, there's your 5-minute answer to a one sentence.
That was very good. Very well said. And now all of a sudden we're getting a ton of activity on the stream. So let's, these are some great questions coming up. Back to the adult summer camp. Do you have to be a registered adult to go to adult summer camp?
I will echo what Mr. Fouts just said, and that is no, you do not have to be a registered BSA member to attend the adult summer camp. You just have to be an adult.
I mean, Susie, is Tony an authority to be able to say that? Is he?
Sorry, I didn't even see Tony's answer there. People are like answering, they're answering our questions for us. They're taking away our fun.
Who is this man?
Who's this man, Fouts?
Who is this Mr. Fouts? No, I'm just okay.
Guys on the call, if you don't know Tony Fouts, he's the director of camping for the Greater St. Louis Area Council. So he's certainly of authority to make those statements. So, hey, Tony, welcome.
Okay, we've got, again, people are answering. So let's move on. A couple other things just to maybe address as open, general questions that people might have. Talking about meds and how are those administered for your scout? That's something definitely, Susie, I think you could, Susie, you want to talk to that? How you're
Yeah, I'm happy to. So for your overnight and resident camps, so anyone where you're sleeping over for either a night or a couple of nights, you're going to have a medical director on site 24/7. And so that person would be someone who you would check in any medication that is taken, and they would handle administration of that. At your day camps, it's going to be the same way. So anyone who has medication that, it needs to be checked in with the medical director so that they're aware of the dosage and when it's being taken and what have you. And so as long as that's just in its normal prescription bottle, labeled, all that good stuff, it is always very helpful if mom or dad or guardian want to shoot us an email before you come out to camp and just give us a heads up if it's a big medication or something like that, just so that we can know. That stuff is always very helpful, but generally there is medical staff to handle that. So if you're also sending your kiddos with another leader who's part of your pack, making sure that leader is aware of what that medication is on an as needs to know basis, but as much as you're willing to disclose, it's just always helpful.
Look at the comments. Oh, they are flowing now.
Let's see here. If a parent is not staying over but would like to come up and maybe have dinner with their scout, are they allowed to come up? That's a great question.
So I'm happy to answer this one. This one is a little painful for me to answer because the current answer is no. We are not allowing visitors at this time. And the whole reason for that is just exposure. So keeping everyone as safe as possible. We're bearing in mind the adults at camp, the campers at camp, and the camp staff. So without our camp staff, we don't have camp. So we really need to make sure that we're keeping them happy and healthy and all that good stuff. So right now, our visitor policy is no visitors. So we are not having parents' nights and things like that. I will touch on a few things. If you are having another leader come in the middle of the week or through a portion of the week to tap in for another leader to provide leadership, they are more than welcome to still come. So that's been a policy that we've had for a little bit of time now, where leaders can break up the week of camp to make sure that there's adequate leadership. But at this time, we are not doing visitors at camp. So I wish I had a different answer, but again, it is just all about exposure, and it is all about keeping everyone healthy and safe. And again, we are reviewing our policies and trying to see what we can do to make camp look as typical as possible. But at this time, no visitors.
if I can back onto that really quick with something a little specific too, I know that we have some commissioners on the call because I can see you guys on the Facebook list over here. That includes, unfortunately, adult volunteers and the commissioner staff may not visit their units at camp. Sorry to deliver that message, guys. I know to the commissioners that is so important to be able to get down there and see these units functioning, right? Our heart and soul is in scouting. Not this year. Sorry about that. Thank you, Lexi.
Well, we do have some more questions coming in. Let's take, sorry, excuse me. Yes. Okay. So let's talk, actually, let's go back a little bit more on this, in check-in day and procedures and tips and tricks for that. Obviously, especially for the younger, I know I'm going dark here, but especially for the younger groups, it's really great to coordinate your arrival time as much as possible with the rest of your den. This can be a very nerve-wracking experience. Just checking, oh my gosh, are we late? Especially with your scout. Are we going to miss out? We're going to miss out on something if we're not there right on time. But if you coordinate as a den, there is some time. There's generally a few hours of the check-in. You'll have, a scout staff at your campsite to go over the medical and all of those things. But it's great to coordinate with your den and try to arrive about the same time, just so your camper doesn't feel like they're missing out on anything. But, and this can be a little bit of a chaotic experience, especially dropping off. So just, again, when you're packing for especially your Cub Scout, helping them pack, make sure you've got that wagon. That wagon is so important to put everything in, because if you've never been to one of these campsites before, you check in, you're thinking, oh, the campsite's got to be around here somewhere, but might not be. So you may have to get back in your car and drive closer to the campsite. So those wonderful foldable wagons that you can just put everything in, so their pillows don't get dragged through the mud as they're running to the campsite to get there.
Seen that happen.
Yeah. Oh, me too. So it can be chaotic, and it can be a little bit stressful as a parent, as a den leader, and as a scout, because again, they're so excited to get there. They just don't want to miss out on anything. So, just coordinate that with your den. And any other comments on that, like procedure, like tips for checking in, especially at the younger Cub Scout age? Any of you guys?
Arrive at camp as a group.
Absolutely. As many people that can show up together at one time in that unit is, yes.
Yeah. And I guarantee your scout will be a little happier with that plan too, because it takes away some of the nervousness. So
don't unpack until you're ready.
Yeah, right.
I was just going to say, Kenny, if I arrive at Camp May, should I unload my car in the parking lot and start to head for my campsite right away?
I would put it right in the office there in Emerson. No, I'm kidding. No. Send one person from that unit into the office, which will be most likely in Emerson there, to get checked in, and then make sure you understand where your campsite is. I got to watch a unit move campsites about halfway through the day, and you don't want to do that. So
more importantly, make sure your scout understands that they may have to, because I literally walked in to check in at Emerson, and I come back out and my scout had all of his stuff out of the car already. So that was a conversation I should have had in advance with him, that this isn't like camp right here. Like, we have to go to our campsite. But again, it's just everybody's excited, and, being prepared is always the best strategy. So just make sure that your scout's aware of that there may be a few steps to actually get to the camp.
Be prepared and do your best.
That's right.
Now, if I get my whole campsite set up and there's a bunch of scout tents, so we've got some nylon tents up on the campsite, and the 16-year-old camp staffer, the troop guide, the camp guide, comes over to me and delicately asks that I shift some of the tents apart because they're too close to each other. Should I throw a fit and chew out that 16-year-old kid?
He's just doing his job, Tim.
You hear that, everybody on the call? You hear that?
We have a couple other questions coming in. Good old Tony here has chimed in as well with a great point that, we're still planning to have campfires. They might look differently, to ensure that social distancing is maintained. But I mean, a fire is fun if you're sitting right next to each other or a few feet apart. A fire is always a good time. So there will still be campfires at camp. And then Sarah has a good question too. Yeah. What about financial assistance? Is that available and how do you apply?
I'd be more than happy to take care of that since I really I benefited from it. So we have what's called camperships here in GSLAC, and it's basically a scholarship to attend camp, covers anywhere from 10 to 50% of the cost for one camp. They're on a first come, first served basis. So if you feel like, you or you have a scout in your unit that would benefit from that, get those in there as soon as possible. We help pay for those camperships through Friends of Scouting. I hope if we were all in a room, I'd ask you who's benefited from Friends of Scouting, and I wish that I would see everybody's hand go up because we all benefit from it. Basically, it's a simple form to register a child and multiple children from the same family can use it, and it's available online on the GSLAC website. If you go to the frequently asked questions, I believe there's a link in there for it. In fact, I'll share the link before we're done here on the comments. If you want to help support those camperships, go to stlbsa.org/donate. Make a contribution today. It helps. As a kid who got a campership when he was a youth, you guys changed my life, and we're here to change other kids' lives. So that's how you do it.
All right. Well, I think this has been a really informative and helpful forum. I hope everybody that is watching, thank you for everyone for participating, not only the panel, but the great comments and questions that we've had. Obviously, this will be, I think you can watch this live stream again on the website. It'll just obviously not be live or on the Facebook page. So that is #CampLifeSTLBSA. There's a lot of different sites for the different councils and organizations and camps, but that is your official guide to BSA camping here in the greater St. Louis area. So, in closing, we're all anxious to get our kids back to summer camp. It's a bummer we missed out last year, but I think everybody's excited. I know my den is at 100% participation, which I've never had before. So that's really exciting. And safety is a priority, but it's not going to take away from the great time and the wonderful sense of independence that all these kids are going to gain from having this experience. So, yes.
I would think they would know what the tents look like, but the Greater St. Louis Area Council is asking, what do the tents look like?
They're big.
They're canvas.
They're green.
Yeah.
They're canvas.
They look like this?
They're open. So
they're weatherproof.
Yeah. So you want them open so that things pass through them, right?
You can't have the raccoon stuck in the middle. I learned that my first year. You got to have them both open so when it comes in, it can get out. The last thing you want is a raccoon stuck in your tent. So,
and ventilation is so important on day 4 of camp.
They actually are cooler. They are cooler than a regular tent that you would set up. It's like you wouldn't think they would be, but they are.
Oh, hold on. Our screen share is not working. I'm going to illustrate real quick. We have a line, another line, another line.
Tony gave the winning comment already.
Tony did he? Did I miss it?
I think Tony needs to be on this Facebook Live next time.
There's my professional screen share.
It looks great.
Thank you. But yes, Tony is absolutely right. Come to camp and find out.
It's time to shut us down. We're slap happy now.
It is. Yep. We are. We're slap happy. It's all. Any other questions, go to stlbsa.org, and there's tons of information there. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
Night, guys.